Good morning. Is this rolling? I hope not. This is embarrassing. I can't tell. I gotta move the light. Oh crap, we are recording. I'm afraid my hyacinth is showing. This is, the prop of the week. And it's a little embarrassing, but welcome to another Wine Steward video. And yes, it's Easter time. How about that? It crept up on us, didn't it? It doesn't seem like Easter out there today. It's a little wet and cold. And I got my sweater on, but I'm also decked out in flowers. And I'm afraid my hyacinth is in fact showing. But anyway, here, let's do this. Let's do this Easter thing. A holiday which all of you celebrate in different ways. Some of you get fertile or perform some kind of fertility rite, and others of you go to church and we all eat. That's a common thing, right? We all eat, so that's cool. And most of us drink as well. So why not talk about wines for Easter today? And also other things that we can do to make your Easter celebration even more important and fun. So why not just point out, first of all, that Easter baskets are not for kiddos anymore. Well, maybe they can have theirs, but now we are doing ours. They can also be for adults. And what would be in an adult Easter basket? I can imagine some things that the wine store doesn't sell might be in an Easter basket to help with the the fertility. I got to get off that subject, sorry. But let's focus on what the wine store does very well. This is not one of those places. It is one of these places that sells wine and good food. In this case, this specially designed Easter basket presents a couple of sweet wines for you. This is a category of wine that we don't, as a collective population out there, use often enough, in my opinion. But how about Easter? To have a nice dessert wine at the end of the Easter brunch or Easter feast. And here, in fact, is an LBV that is a late bottle vintage from Porto, Spain. Portugal, I should say. And here is some stuff that is falling over that is sweet as well. Some chocolates. Actually, this Charles chocolate is fantastic. I know it looks weird, but it's, I've taken it to events and made people very, very happy with that fruit flavored chocolate. And then this is a Muscat de Baume de Venise. Point is, we have Easter baskets down there. They're not for kids anymore. Okay, they're not just for kids anymore. Did you ever see the little part of Ted 2 with Liam Neeson in it? Look it up on YouTube. Try not to be offended by the profanity spouted out by that teddy bear. It's cute. Liam Neeson in Ted 2. You can YouTube that. And you'll recover later. Point is, baskets, Easter, all that. It's good, it's fun. There's a lot to tell you this week. I'm a little scattered because I haven't had my coffee yet. You know, the Starbucks down the street, I got here at 5:30 this morning. Starbucks has very, very irregular hours right now, and they are not necessarily open at 6 p.m. when I want to walk down there in the dark and get my Java so I can be a little better for you. And so, haven't had my coffee. Can you tell? I'm just a little bit off. At any rate, Easter baskets, Easter time, let's get to that. Right, so we did that. That's out of here. Okay, I got this little thing. Oh, Angelino, how about that? You know that Angelino, this really cool Italian dude who brought gondolas over from Venice and rode people around on Lake Merritt for many, many years on these 3 beautiful gondolas, one gondola at a time. He would sing to them, and that was great. What a wonderful experience. You can still have that experience and go to Lake Merritt and do that. He just no longer owns that business. But what he's done all along is he has sold wonderful, wonderful wines from Italy. He's a great wine vendor. He's a great wine lover. He's Italian. He knows his shit. And he is going to present wine next Tuesday. You can't come if you didn't sign up because it's sold out. Well, it's sold out so fast in the matter of an hour and a half that we have decided to do on the very next Tuesday a repeat. Angelino will come back and do Italy again for us. So, for those of you who are disappointed, just stand by. You're going to see an offering for that event, the remedial event, so-called, appearing on our website, all right? And you can sign up to see Angelino, hear from Angelino, but most importantly, taste with Angelino. 13, not 12. I promised 12. Well, we've overbuilt the list. It is 13 wines from Italy, and you're going to know all about them by the end of the evening. It'll be great. It'll be very, very good. All right, so what else? We've got Angelino out of the way. Haha, Wine Club wines. All of you beloved Wine Club members, all 800 or so of you, can we please get to 1,600? My life would be easier. I could afford to go on vacation. At any rate, you Wine Club members can come in and pick up your April Wine Club wines just in time for Easter. How perfect. And a lot of the wines are, in fact, geared toward that holiday that's coming up with the things we tend to eat or drink. By the way, I used to be a produce manager. And what would you think was my busiest day of the year, my most lucrative, biggest sales day of the year? Was it the day before Christmas? Was it the day before Thanksgiving? I would have guessed those two. It's actually the day before Easter. Why? Everyone has Saturday off, right? Saturday's always before Sunday, Easter. And what else? We sell a ton of fruit for fruit salads and such, especially strawberries. And then a ton of asparagus. And what else? Well, the floral department is part of my produce department. Lots of Easter lilies, lots of flowers. Going over to Mom's house, you better bring flowers. So, at any rate, I was always up for this holiday, looking for good sales and such. But the other point is, let's get to the point related to the wine steward. The Wine Club wines are ready to pick up. We appreciate what you guys do for us. You sustain us even in our slow months, because once a month, you are paying for and getting 2 bottles that we are choosing for you per whatever of the 6 clubs you actually are a member of. And some of you are members of multiple clubs. We love you the most. Wine Club members, come in and get your Wine Club wine in time for Easter. And we'll see you soon. I'll have the notes written on the wines a little late. I think we have other things to do this week, but they will be coming to you by maybe Monday. How about that? There's another thing I'd like to tell you about. I don't have a way to hold up this prop. I don't know if you can even see the whole thing on here. I didn't really set this up this well. Let's just do that and say, what? Plus de vie? What is that? Well, a lot of you people know what plus de vie means, at least what it means to us. This French term, it appears on a label that we do for the wine steward exclusively. It is, yes, it's a house wine. Now, a lot of people, restaurants and wine shops and otherwise, will have a house wine made for them, and they may have zero to do with it. In other words, they just say, hey, will you bottle up 100 cases of something that's hopefully good, and we'll sell it. Put our name on it, whether it's, you know, Spanger's House White or whatever. I can say that because Spanger's is gone now. But you know what I mean? Like, everybody's got their house white. Why? Because they're making decent money on it. We're far more involved than that. We have 100 cases being made, and we are in on the making. We get to choose the fruit source. We get to help with the recipe. I went up to Sonoma yesterday to work on the final blending of this wine that is going to be bottled in June. This is just an update. We promised you who have bought futures of this an update on Domaine des Plus de Vie. It is going to be Grenache it was almost going to have some Grenache in it. We decided, no, it's fine on its own. It's Carignan and Mourvedre, and it is beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I'm very, very happy with it. Went up to see if we wanted to tweak, add a little Syrah maybe, see what happens. We did that. Something good happened, but it wasn't what we wanted. We added another vineyard Syrah. This is really nice, but it's not the idea we have in mind. And then we added a little Grenache, as I said, and oh, that was lovely. It took me straight to the Rhone. I didn't want to go to the Rhone. I wanted to have something more like Corbière. If you've never heard of Corbière, don't worry about it. We'll be talking about it in the Wine Club notes when this wine appears in there. Those of you who have bought futures, you've been promised a little update. There's your update. We are leaving this as a pure Carignan and Mourvedre blend, entirely from ungrafted, over 100-year-old vines. Ugly looking things, these poor things struggling in the sands of Oakley. But man, I'll tell you what, they have made a very, very nice wine for us. So stand by, that's coming. That's your update, how about that? Plus de Vie is on the way. Now we get to this thing that I've been working on as of 5:30 this morning called a wine bar menu, because we change it every week. So what are we gonna do on the wine bar menu? What would be timely, what would be appropriate? Wines that go nicely with either Easter dinner or Easter brunch. How about that? In some way, each of the wines that we have chosen has something to do with what you might be eating on Easter morning or Easter evening. How about that? Let's get right to that. This is the menu, freshly composed. The sparkling wine, we always do a bubbly. This time, it should be pink, right? I don't know. It's Easter. It should be pink. I think it should be. This is from not France, not California. It is from Tasmania, Australia. How about that? It's like, yes, they do great sparkling wine everywhere and in places you may not expect to see sparkling wine from or even have wine from. Tasmania, all we know about are the devils from there, but here is something quite angelic, an Easter type. It's a dry blend of Pinot Noir and Pinot Meunier. Those are two classic Champagne sparkling wine varieties, and these guys honoring Champagne also grow it in Tasmania. It's really lovely. Our good friend Ennis, who worked here for a couple of years, we miss him a lot, always told you to try this wine. He especially liked it because he actually went here. He visited this producer. Can you believe that? It's my hyacinth showing. Now it is. See it? All right. Let's go to the white wine flight. Yes, you can do a white wine flight that would do nicely in this glass and come out of the first time around. This bottle right here. Now look at this bottle. This is what we call, this bottle shape is a Hock, H-O-C-K, I believe. And it looks like it's from Germany, but no, it's not. It's from France. Oh, it's from France, therefore it's from Alsace, right? It's a good guess. It's not from Alsace. Alsatian white wine is fantastic with Easter, whatever you're doing. Think about it. Easter, the main dish is frequently ham and or lamb, right? Is one of the two proteins you tend to do. So we tend to do whites that have nice fruit. They might be bone dry, and hopefully are. I mean, most of you like dry wine, right? You don't like the sweet stuff. You get all like nerdy and weird about it. It looks like it's going to be sweet. It smells fruity, but it's not sweet. You can have very fruity wine that is bone dry. Dry means there's no sugar in the wine. Fruity means it smells like fruit, okay? Here is a wine from Moselle. Moselle is the smallest, perhaps the smallest wine region in France. It is certainly the northernmost. We most usually and conveniently say that Champagne is France's most northerly wine region because it's pretty big and well known. But this is tiny. This is like consists of just a few hundred acres. This area called Moselle. This is going to be a blend of grapes that you may or may not have heard of. One is Auxerrois, one is Müller-Thurgau, another is Pinot Gris, you've heard of that. And then finally, what's in there at the end? Gewürztraminer, you've heard of that too, right? And all of those things add up to something you might expect to be sweet, but no, it just smells beautifully floral. Hang on, I forgot my spit bucket. And if I taste all of these, like, I'm gonna be lost. All right, I got my bucket. And I'm back. And this is lovely. Bone dry, minerally, wonderful. This would kill it with ham, especially. Good stuff. So that's imported by our friend Charles Neal. He appears here at least once a year to present French wines, and I've gotten to drive around France with him. I'm never going to do it again. The guy's merciless with his schedule. All right, let's go to, yes, Sauvignon Blanc. I would not ordinarily promote Sauvignon Blanc for Easter because it can be too herbal, too herbal, maybe even vegetal, and not have enough fruit to work with Easter fare. And I think what you want, as I've said before, I believe, is fruitiness. Not necessarily sweetness, but fruitiness. Well, here's a beautiful, more placid, I would say stone fruit flavor oriented Sauvignon Blanc from the people at Acumen. These guys are way up high above the Napa Valley floor on what we call Atlas Peak. Atlas Peak is on the east side of the Napa Valley. You drive up Soda Canyon Road, past a bunch of unfortunately burned out terrain where a very bad fire happened, I think in 2017. And then you get to where a vineyard still thrives, and that would be Acumen. Acumen is up there next to Antica and across the little valley from Pritchard Hill. So you're near Pritchard Hill here. Pritchard Hill is kind of a buzzword. People know it. They revere it and they spend a lot of money for it. Well, these guys are right nearby. But Sauvignon Blanc from Atlas Peak, you just don't see it. Normally they're committing that very, very expensive terrain, hard to farm, expensive to farm, and it can grow great Cabernet. They grow great Cabernet, but they devote a little bit of their space, acreage, to Sauvignon Blanc. Good for them, because this is beautiful and rare. And a rare Sauvignon Blanc that will work with Easter Fair, because it's more delicate, and it's a little more fruit forward, like I said, with maybe stone fruit, maybe like white peach. Nice stuff. All right, let's get nerdy. Let's go to Boujee. Yes, we're gonna get Boujee now. This is in fact a region called Boujee, and it sounds bougie to say it, but we are not being bougie, we are going to Boujee. How about that? Maybe you don't even know. Like, look up bougie in Urban Dictionary if you are so old that you have never used the term. But anyway, this is from a region called Boujee within a larger region called Savoie, which is on the eastern side of France. It's from Domaine I gotta say this right. Domaine d'Isilla, which kind of means until then. It's kind of a colloquialism or a phrase, until then. A bunch of people here are probably saying, well, until we're famous, until then, we'll just make this wine and drink it ourselves. Well, we heard about it too, so until then is now happening. This is now then. Maybe we should call this then or now. Whatever. We'll work on the name. Point is, it's from Boujee, and it isn't. And it is delicious and a little unusual. It's made of a grape called Altesse. You can also call it Roussette. I mean, how unusual is that? But it will work with Easter Fair. I promise. Palate feel is broad, soft, no wood used. This was fermented and aged entirely in, get this, concrete. So there's no wood. This is like alpine, subalpine flavors. In other words, like snow melt. A nice texture to it. Very cool wine. It's nerdy, but it isn't bougie. How about that? Now let's go to wine number 4 on that white wine flight. Tell you with great excitement. Can you see how excited I am? This is 100% Shannon Blanc from the region of Anjou in the Loire Valley. And we are going to, well, maybe you're gonna get to try it sometime, but I'm gonna have some now because I believe Shannon Blanc is in some ways the best grape in the world. I love to promote this sometimes maligned grape variety. Maligned because a lot of us have this stigma in our head of it being grandma's jug wine, like with a handle on it by Paul Masson or the likes of them, Engelnook perhaps, back, you know, dating myself, but like 30 or 40 years ago, grandma might have been like kind of getting quiet in a corner when the rest of us are playing cards during the holidays, and this would be in her hands, like just about to spill out. Shannon Blanc from the Loire Valley is the best example of that grape variety. Treated correctly, it can be one of the most profound and excellent ageable and variable white wine made, because it can be dry, it can be sparkling, it can be a little sweet, it can be very, very sweet. It can do so many great things. All it needs is attention and a great place. This is a great place. This is Anjou in the Loire Valley of France. This is also a wine that does not come to California except to us. We are exclusive with this cool thing. And we got, I think, 6 packs a few months ago, and they blew right out of here. I ordered 6 cases. I meant cases. They sent 6 packs. Well, now I've ordered 10 6-packs, meaning 5 cases. So we've got the name of the pack size right. This is lovely. Domaine des Brisés from Anjou. That's fun to say. So that's the final white in the flight. Easter whites. Well, we're gonna do a rosé every week now that it is spring and we are getting rosés in finally. Dry rosés from the 2021 vintage are now finally arriving. The European ones are slow to get here because all those boats are slow these days. So in the meantime, why don't we show one from the Rogue Valley of Oregon. This is Grenache Syrah Mourvedre called Two Birds. It is sold to us by a good friend, Matt Klassen, who has something to do with Sabio restaurant down the street, and also Testarossa Winery down the highway. And he also has this little project where he brings in some great wines from Oregon and Napa, and he's an old friend. He's a partner in our Pleasanton world, so it's fun to work with him. I'm going to work with him now. I'm going to work with his wine now. Two birds. GSM, Grenache Sauvignon Blanc. We just say GSM to keep it tidy. Not from the Willamette Valley, but from the Oregon, or the Rogue Valley, a little farther south, where you can, in fact, more reliably grow Grenache Syrah Mourvedre. The Willamette Valley, you can pull off a good Syrah in the cold weather type style, but you know, Grenache and Mourvedre, forget it. So go farther south a little bit to the Rogue to be able to do your own thing, your own inspired thing, Grenache Syrah Mourvedre. They did a great job with that. Those of you who are missing your GSM fix from southern France, because most of the examples from 2021 vintage haven't arrived yet, you'll be very, very happy here, I promise. Yes, wine comes in red. Let's do that. Red wines, they go nicely with Easter is the idea. And I'm gonna get this glass out first. This is our New World Pinot Noir glass. By the way, it's back, it's for sale. Everybody needs this. I used to think this was bullshit. This big over-designed glass shape. No, this is what we're using for 2/3 of what we're drinking nowadays. We really like this here at the Wine Steward. And it's gonna be perfect for this Pinot Noir from, hey, here we go, finally, Alsace. We told you that Alsatian wines are often enjoyed for Easter, and now we're gonna represent that region at long last. This is from Charles Frey. You can say Fry or Frey. They don't even know how to pronounce their last name. Kind of depends on how, if you want to sound German or French, because of course you're right on the German border on the French side. That's Charles Frey. I'm gonna say that. Pinot Noir, stony. There's pretty fruit. There's like cranberry fruit going on in here. It's not overdone. You don't really, from Alsace, you don't see red wine outside of maybe Pinot Noir. It's a white wine region, but Pinot Noir can be beautiful here, and yet it's not like over the top. It's not like a Santa Lucia Highlands or Russian River Pinot. It's got, like I said, more stoniness to it, and pertness, just a little bit of like pepper and stem going on, just a little bit of the veg, but not so much of that. It's fruit oriented, but pert, very pert. Kind of Pinot you might want to put a slight chill on, and definitely have it with food. You want protein with this. Charles Frey, good job, guys. I'm going to visit them someday. They might be relatives of mine. Now, here we go to Spain. Yeah, Spain, why not? Spain with Easter? Yeah, think of it. This is from green Spain, from a cooler part of Spain. It's more rainy up here. It does rain in Spain up in Galicia. So northwest Spain, right above Portugal, heading toward the Atlantic coast. This is an area called Monterey. Sounds like our Monterey, right? It's spelled slightly differently, but the region is Monterey, and the grape variety is Mencia. And if you don't want to say it with a lisp, you can say Mencia. Say it however you want. If you don't want to sound, I don't know, effeminate or weird, but that's how they would say it. They say Mencia, okay? And I'm going to put my Mencia in this glass over here. Right on. Carlos y Bueyes. Carros y, it's not Carlos, it's Carros. It's cart and ox, like ox cart. I don't know why, but the main point is Mencia is a really cool grape that some of the scholars out there used to connect to Cabernet Franc. It turns out it's not related to Cabernet Franc. It is its own thing. And Mencia really only happens up here in this part of the world, up in Galicia, in Monterrey, and Valdeorras, and Bierzo, and Ribera Sacra. Those four places that all require my R trilling are in Galicia. Well, one is just slightly outside of it. Bierzo is, you go through a tunnel and you're in Leon all of a sudden, but I mean, you're really still in Galicia for all of these Mencia places. Mencia. I'm talking about a grape variety you don't know anything about, or maybe you barely had it. But it's not Tempranillo. That's the point. We have nice variables from Spain. It doesn't all have to be Tempranillo or Monastrell or Grenache. There are other things we can have too. Cool weather red. Think of that. Like this could be, in fact, from the Loire Valley of France. A very nice palate feel. And it's in the Wine Adventure Wine Club this month. So yet another reminder, Wine Club members, your wines are ready to pick up, including this Mencia from Monterrey. All right. And because I think so many people associate Easter with Pinot Noir that we can probably squeeze in another Pinot Noir into the flight. And we're not going to California. Yeah, the first one was from Alsace, France. Why don't we go to Oregon? Let's go back to Oregon for this guy from Yamhill Valley. I got to visit this winery, I think in 1991, a very, very long time ago. And gosh, a half a life ago. And I was so glad to see this label reappear when a vendor visited us just a couple days ago and said, hey, try this Oregon Pinot. I think it's going to work for you guys in your wine bar. And I said, amen. From Oregon Pinot, we don't necessarily expect the jubilant, over-rich fruit of some California types. We want something that is between Burgundy from France and the California style in size and in nose and in flavor. So along with fruit, we're hoping for maybe a little bit of ash. That's what I often get, like ashtray. If that sounds weird or offensive, I mean, it makes sense when it's just a nuance along with the fruit, and that happens here. It's so pretty. A new Oregon Pinot Noir for about 24 bucks before Wine Club discount. Get in on this Yamhill Valley. It's very honest. Honestly good. Now, I am going to somewhat contradict what I said earlier. I can't tell if that's showing. Because I was saying that you want to do fruit-forward wines with Easter. Well, Easter often involves lamb. Some of you hate lamb, and a lot of you like it. I think those of you who hate it simply haven't had good lamb yet. And I certainly didn't during my childhood. Sorry, Mom. Yet, once I finally got to Spain in 2005, I did a 180 on lamb. I just realized what you need is good quality, and you need to prepare it properly, and you have to have, your best bet is to have this grape variety called Tempranillo. And this is a region in Spain that grows Tempranillo like crazy, Ribera del Duero. And I have never seen a place more fanatical about the preparation of lamb than this, the people here in Ribera del Duero. 100% Tempranillo. Is it over oaked? No, they didn't use any new wood, and all of the barrels were oversized, not barrique sized, but larger. And you've got purity of place and grape variety instead. So there's no oakiness getting in the way. There's no like part 3. So it's location, lugar, we can say, and we can say that Tempranillo is properly honored. It's ageable. It's definitely decanter needy. I would put this in a decanter while you're preparing your lamb and decant it for a good hour or two. Let it come out and age some. Get some of this for later. I promise you, this is ageable wine. It's super rare too. There's only like 400 cases made. We're probably the only ones in California to have it. I mean, think about 400 cases of a wine made in Spain that finally got to the importer's warehouse in the East Coast. And like, how can it get any farther than that without like finally being depleted? We're in the know. We're friends with this importer particularly, and we're in the know. Okay, so now you are. If you're having lamb, think about having a beautiful Tempranillo like this one called Sei Solo. It's Preludio de Sei Solo. Sei Solo is a set of sonatas written by Johann Sebastian Bach. Sei Solo. And in fact, you've got, if you can see that, that is Bach's own monogram. You can see JSB in there backwards and forwards if you look very, very carefully. It's kind of cool. That guy was amazing. All right, Finally. Even though we've just had dry and structured and lamb wine that is not necessarily as fruit forward, we thought we should come back to the idea of fruit before saying goodbye to Easter wines. As the grand finale in our red flight for Easter wines is Amor Fati. Amor Fati is from Santa Maria Valley of Santa Barbara County. It is 100% Grenache, and it is from the Murmur Vineyard. I love this wine. We up in here in Northern California have known this for a very, very long time. We've been carrying it off and on. I don't love every vintage, but I taste every vintage and say whether or not Amor Fati will be back on our shelf. Not all of you are looking for $45 Grenache. Not all of you know to even ask for such a thing. But we, as the wine steward, are responsible for this idea. We love Grenache. We love the Rhone varieties. And we have here a wine made not in the thousands of cases, but the mere low hundreds of cases, probably 200 or 300 cases. Murmur Vineyard, single vineyard Grenache. It is not shy. Some purists will say that wine's too big. When it comes to Grenache, I'm very, very forgiving. All I want is that beautiful cherry pie cooling down on a windowsill effect, and I am happy. I am happy. Happy Easter, everyone. Come in, get the adult in your life an adult Easter basket. How about that? Sign up for Angelino's second event if you couldn't get into the first one. Wine Club members, your wines are ready to pick up. Wine bar menu starts, well, it just started. Thank you very much and happy Easter. We'll see you all soon. Sorry for the hyacinth.